Your call has been forwarded to an automatic voice message system.
Running a business means you're always reachable until you're not. And the moment you miss that call, a competitor picks it up. That's why this episode is brought to you by Quo, spelled Quo, the business phone system built so you never miss an opportunity. All your calls, texts, and voicemails live in one place. Anyone on your team can pick up a conversation, see the full history, and respond fast. Quo is the #1 rated business phone system on G2, trusted by over 90,000 businesses. Set up in minutes on any device. Keep your existing number, add teammates as you grow. No IT, no hassle. Quo's built-in AI agent even handles after-hours calls and books appointments, so you're covered around the clock. Money is on the line. Always say hello with Quo. Try Quo free, plus 20% off your first 6 months at quo.com/tech. That's quo.com/tech.
Who knew Walmart Business could help a thriving office motivate their employees? Pamela knew. She uses Walmart Business to get the assortment of items her team needs at the prices she loves.
As the office manager, it's my job to make sure my team stays on top of their game. I can get the basics like cleaning supplies and paper towels, but what they really care about, snacks.
And she can get everything they need when they need it.
Greg loves wheat crackers, Brenda craves sour candy, and Max, oh boy, he needs protein bars and milk and applesauce
It's Walmart,
and jerky.
built for your business. Who knew?
Heya, Sewing Club podcast is recorded on Turrbal and Yagara country. We pay our respects to the elders past and present.
Welcome to the Sewing Club podcast. I'm Gemma from Sewing Gem.
And I'm Kylie from Kylie and the Machine. And the Sewing Club podcast is like a book club but for sewing.
This month we are reviewing the Hope Dress by Starlark Patterns.
Yes, a really special one. But before we get into that, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Yeah, very good. These episodes come around quickly.
They sure do.
And the year's almost like half done already. Yeah. How did that happen?
How did we get to July already?
I just blinked and here we are. We're 6 months into, it's crazy.
So what's new?
Oh, well, we've been working so hard behind the scenes at Kylie Machine and just trying to, get everything done so that we can bring all the fun things for Christmas.
Yeah, that's exciting.
What about you?
Yeah, we've been plodding along at Sewing Gem. We've had a new corsetry delivery in the last couple of weeks, and that's been selling really well. So that's really great to see. A few changes that are going to be coming up, which I'll tell you more about as we work out how they're going to work exactly. But that's exciting.
Yeah, sounds interesting.
Life's good.
Excellent. And your Hope dress.
Yeah, it was a great one to make.
Should we talk about the pattern and what it looks like?
Absolutely. Let's do it. So you made the sort of standard Hope dress, I believe, Kylie?
Yes. I made, the Hope dress as its original form. Because the dress is a few years old and it's been updated with some extension pieces and sleeves and bodices. But the original pattern is a raglan sleeve woven dress with a closure at the back, which is just a single button, and sort of bell sleeves with elastic casing around the cuff and a gathered rectangle waist, like a higher waist. I don't know. It's not like an empire waist, but it's not like a drop waist either.
No, but it sits a bit higher.
Yeah,
than
it does sit a bit higher.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
And then it has pockets, and you can make it in 2 different lengths.
So I didn't make the original version.
Yeah.
I made the, I think it was version 3, the crossover bodice, and this really cool sleeve, which I know was version 3, which I've literally fallen in love with and I think I'm going to use in other garments. They kind of described it as like a lantern sleeve, and it's kind of got almost like pleats in the sleeve, but not all the way around. Down. Yeah, it's very cool.
Yeah, I also love that sleeve, and I chose that sleeve as well because I used the standard bodice and everything else is the same, but I used that additional sleeve from the extension pack mainly because I have already made this dress twice before and I already have the 2 longer sleeve versions, one I'm wearing right now, and I thought, I always reserve these for winter or, when it's a bit cooler at night, and I thought maybe something a little shorter would be better and I'll get more use out of it.
I was a bit nervous about making this dress. It's not my normal style. I don't tend to wear very loose dresses. Well, I do sometimes, but they're not necessarily always my go-to.
Yeah.
And so I went on a bit of a journey, I think, when I was making it. And that was part of my reason for picking the cross bodice, because I think, because I have got a bigger bust, I don't necessarily like too high a neckline, but I feel like I got to a really good place with it in the end. So
I'm happy
good.
for you.
It was a good journey. I ended up adding, well, I'll talk about my alterations and everything further down the track, but I ended up adding some ties on the waist to tie at the back, and I think that made a big difference for me. I was really happy with that. So.
Yeah. It's definitely more of a oversized sack silhouette rather than like a fit and flare. And myself, with this dress, I'm not wearing a tie, but I made a external long tie
idea.
that you can just, because I had a little bit of extra fabric left, and I've used that. But when I'm sitting around eating cheese with you, I would prefer to just have the space.
We don't always want to. We can undo those ties. That's nice. Or we can tie it loosely.
Yeah, that's right. But it is that relaxed style.
It is.
And it's a very popular pattern.
Yeah.
It came out just before COVID, so about a year before COVID, and it just became like one of those cult sort of patterns that everyone was making. And I think it lends itself really well to big prints and big patterned fabric because of the way that the raglan sleeve is. It gives you a lot of nice space on the front and on the sleeves to show off the fabric.
Yeah, it's. I can see why it's so popular, and I think now with the extension pieces as well, it's such a great dress. There's so many different options there. There's something for everyone. Yes, I might not be necessarily prefer the high neck, but there was something there for me to pick.
Yeah.
And end up with a dress that I was really happy with. So
I think it is different from my style as well. A lot of it's not something I'd wear every single day, but when I put this on today, even though it's actually probably too big for me, and I made a smaller size in my new one. Okay. I was like, I like these dresses. They're nice,
easy to wear.
Yeah, easy to wear.
Yeah,
and that's the same with all of the patterns on the Style Arc website, and there are a lot.
There are a lot of patterns. I mean, it's amazing, really, how many patterns are there.
Yeah. And we spoke to Carly from Style Arc, and that was really fun.
We learnt so much, didn't we? It was great to chat to her.
Oh, yeah, definitely. The history of the company itself was really fascinating.
Yeah, there's... they're ahead of their time, really, I think, when we learnt where they, how it all started, how it all came to be.
Style Arc started back in 2010, actually. I wasn't a part of the business then. It was Lynn and Liz who started the business. They were working what we call in the rag trade in Melbourne, which is working for different fashion businesses, and they were producing patterns for ranges for some major designers across Melbourne. And what was happening in 2008, a lot of businesses were going offshore to China because they could produce things for a better price and then deliver a better price to the consumer. So Lynn could see and Liz could see this happening. And one day Lynn had this crazy idea of instead of creating patterns for ranges, for fashion houses, why not do it for the home sewer? And that's when it was born, really. They, I think, put $2,000 into the startup of it, and there was nothing really happening. So they did a pattern, they got a little website created, and Lynn said to Liz, "Oh my gosh, we've done our money. What are we doing?" And then Lynn was overseas at the time on a holiday, and their first order came in, and they were like, "Oh my God, now what do we do?" And then so it started. It started out of Liz's house, and she had a very long wooden table through the centre of our house, and they had a Lectra system where they printed wide format patterns from, and then they would fold them manually. So you could imagine as it started receiving more orders. And then I think I was moonlighting between my current role and coming in to set up stickers to put people's addresses on. Everything was very manual. It was crazy. But yeah, back in 2010, that's when it all started.
Ahead of their time, for sure.
And what a pivot.
I mean, amazing. Yeah.
They saw things changing and they decided to create something that they would want to work on and work in, and they still work in the company today.
Yeah, and I know that they've got, such a lot of experience to bring to the company. I mean,
decades of experience
in industry, designing for top Australian clothing lines.
That's great. So you're buying like a designer pattern.
Effectively.
Yeah.
It makes sense why they have so many patterns, doesn't
Yes.
it? Because for them, that's just their bread and butter. That's,
They said that it would be nothing for them to churn out 30 patterns a month back in the day when, they're producing all these garment templates. So, I mean, it makes sense why they have so many. And what I like about Style Arc patterns is they have a lot of detail. They might have,
Your call has been forwarded to an automatic voice message system.
Running a business means you're always reachable until you're not. And the moment you miss that call, a competitor picks it up. That's why this episode is brought to you by Quo, spelled Quo, the business phone system built so you never miss an opportunity. All your calls, texts, and voicemails live in one place. Anyone on your team can pick up a conversation, see the full history, and respond fast. Quo is the #1 rated business phone system on G2, trusted by over 90,000 businesses. Set up in minutes on any device. Keep your existing number, add teammates as you grow. No IT, no hassle. Quo's built-in AI agent even handles after-hours calls and books appointments, so you're covered around the clock. Money is on the line. Always say hello with Quo. Try Quo free, plus 20% off your first 6 months at quo.com/tech. That's quo.com/tech.
Who knew Walmart Business could help a thriving office motivate their employees? Pamela knew. She uses Walmart Business to get the assortment of items her team needs at the prices she loves.
As the office manager, it's my job to make sure my team stays on top of their game. I can get the basics like cleaning supplies and paper towels, but what they really care about, snacks.
And she can get everything they need when they need it.
Greg loves wheat crackers, Brenda craves sour candy, and Max, oh boy, he needs protein bars and milk and applesauce
It's Walmart,
and jerky.
built for your business. Who knew?
lots of shorts or lots of pants, but each one has got different details. Yeah. And for me, that's why I like sewing the most. I like details and extra seam lines and things that are intentionally got a little bit of something that you wouldn't necessarily expect and things that you wouldn't get from fast fashion.
And they really sort of seem to keep ahead of what's actually happening in fashion at that time and reflect it in their patterns. You can see that.
Yeah, they definitely go through like trends, and they have some patterns that are like celebrity style.
Yes. And you can tell, can't you, when you look, and that's great. I love that.
Yeah.
In fact, Carly even, I asked whether or not she was talking about the fact, a pattern that they'd developed, and, she'd seen somebody out and about wearing something, and she was telling a story of how, like, she's literally, chased somebody down to have a closer look at this particular pattern. So they're really on top of things and what's going on and what people are wearing.
They're constantly looking and seeing what's trending and bringing those patterns to us at home that would like to make them.
Yeah, it's great. And I think probably, going back to that time, 2010, I think there was, and Carly mentions this in the interview, there was a bit of an assumption that, people that were going to pick up these patterns were people that could sew.
Yes.
So perhaps the instructions themselves weren't as in-depth as, some other instructions might be.
Especially today. I mean, things have changed a lot over the last 14 years.
And that's what she said.
So PDFs were just not happening at the time. And also we are not writers as well, which you might know from our construction sheets, which are much better these days. But we just assumed everybody knew how to sew. So it was pretty much cut this piece out and sew it together and voila.
You cut and voila.
And voila.
Yeah.
Oh, that explains it.
It does. It makes so much sense to me. It really does.
Yeah, me too. And they've evolved a lot.
Well, Carly said that, they've had to change, I guess, the expectations for indie pattern companies is that their patterns come with, thorough instructions. And I was really pleasantly surprised by the instructions that I had for the Hope dress. I thought they were really good.
Yes.
I have made other style-up patterns where they weren't as detailed, and these were good.
A couple of years ago, I made one that wasn't so detailed, but it still had all the information that you needed to complete the garment. And I think they have done a really good job of separating their big catalogue of patterns into beginner-friendly patterns. So they have actually, when you go to the menu, there's, dresses, coats, blah, blah, blah. But then there's an actual beginners section. So if you are a beginner and you choose something from there, you know that it's going to be, within your skill level, and that's important.
And it probably, if you actually go to their website, you'll see that there's a whole list of tutorials and other resources that you can draw upon. So, that they've really done a lot to improve that tremendously. The Hope dress is one that does have a tutorial, so it's all there for you. And
it has a tutorial for the original pattern, and then there's tutorial for the extension packs as well. So everything you need is there. But in essence, I think it is still quite a simple garment that, it's only got so many pieces. I like that the front and the back piece of the skirt is one piece of paper that you have to cut out. Yes. So you're using, less paper, which is great. And I love a raglan sleeve. They're my jam.
And we talked to Carly about why is the Hope dress as popular as it is? And I think that was the reason that we kind of summarised.
Yes. She said it wasn't sliced so much, like spliced. And I get that. You've got the centre bodice, which you can fussy cut your print, which if you're not sure what fussy cut means, it basically means that you're like selecting the part of your fabric print that you want to put in that center panel, and it may not be the best for economic use of fabric. You might have a little bit of extra wastage, but you're cutting it so that the final garment has the layout of the print that you want. And speaking of making it yours, Gemma, what did you do to yours to make it yours?
So when I first made it straight from the pattern, I knew I needed to do something to it to make it me. And the first thing was what I found, perhaps I should have done a bust alteration and I didn't. I found that when it came off the bust, it just came out a bit like you'd expect a maternity dress to look like for someone that's 9 months pregnant, and I wasn't 9 months pregnant underneath. So I was like, if I'm going to wear this, I need to be able to do some things. So I think probably I should have done the bust alteration, didn't, so then I had to work on how I was going to make it work for me. And so I put just a little bit of gathering in underneath the bust and drew that up, so it had a tiny amount of gathering that you wouldn't even really see on the bodice, and then gathered the skirt as normal. And that kind of then just brought it in under my bust slightly, which meant that it didn't kind of stick out, if that makes sense. And the other thing that I did was I added waist ties to the side seams. So that was, I guess, me making it mine. And I'm really, really pleased with the outcome.
I think it's lovely, and I love that fabric. It's so soft.
Yes, although it is blue and white again. I keep going back to blue and white. I don't know.
I don't think we are going to apologise for that anymore because I made a black and white dress.
This is true. Yeah.
Look, we are making these things for ourselves after all, and we want to make a capsule wardrobe. So we're making things that go with the colours that we like and that suit our tone. And I'm not going to apologise for that anymore.
No, you're right,
we might end up having black and blue a lot in our photos, but that's okay because that's what we want to wear.
And I find as well when I do wear that blue, everyone says to me, "Oh, that's your colour." It's like, well, yeah, you're right.
Yeah. I think it's because you've got blue eyes and it just matches your hair and skin tone, so why change?
Exactly.
And I love the alternative sleeve.
It's so cool. Yeah. So different to anything I've seen. It does. It's nice to wear. It looks great. It's a bit different. It's cool.
Any tricky parts?
Tricky parts. I always think adding the gathering at the waist is, I wouldn't say it's tricky, but I think when you come to doing any kind of gathering and therefore then attaching to the bodice, you need to make sure you're not in a rush. I will always stop at that point if I'm sewing late at night or something like that. I was like, no, this has to be done.
Yep.
It can't be rushed. And I think that's the key thing. Everyone can do it, but just take your time.
Yeah. And there's, like everything in sewing, there's a multitude of ways of doing the gathers, and you might do 1 row or 2 rows or 3 rows of stitches, and you might do the dental floss method, or you might use a gathering foot,
or increase the tension on your machine and let it gather up at the back. Or, I mean, there's so many. Gathering is one of those things where there are just like literally loads of different ways.
Yeah.
Gathering feet are cool though.
Yeah.
It's just difficult to, I mean, you can work it out, but it takes a bit of work knowing exactly what size it's going to become.
Yeah,
and
like
then,
math.
Yeah. It would avoid that.
That's why we buy the pattern.
So what method did you use to gather your skirt?
Oh, I just do the two. If there's a 1 centimetre seam allowance, then I will do 2 rows of very long stitches of 5. Is it millimetres? Is that 5 millimetre stitch length?
I think so.
And I will do 1 on either side of where the seam would go. So 1 like less than line. Less than the centimetre and 1 more than the centimetre. And then when I sew it, I make sure that the gathers are on the underside.
Interesting.
On the feed dog side, because I feel like when I do it the other way, it just always gets all mushed up or something by the foot.
Interesting.
Yeah, but I know that there's no real right or wrong way of doing it, but I know that in a factory setting, they do it that way. So maybe
they do it in the factory that way?
Yeah.
Oh, there you go. See, I do it the other way.
Yes.
I do the same with the gathering stitches, 1 outside of the stitching line, 1 inside of the seam allowance. Mm-hmm. And if it's a bigger seam allowance, I'll sometimes do 2 inside the seam allowance and then 1 just on the other side of the stitching line. But I've always sewn I prefer sewing the gathers on the top, but now I'm wondering...
Is that so you can see what you're doing?
So I can see the gathers, but maybe I'll switch it up next time. Now I know that's what they do in industry. Maybe I'm doing it wrong.
I mean, the only reason you'd need to see them is if you didn't have the row on the other side. If there wasn't one that's on the main part of the skirt that you'd see, that's kind of holding it in place. And as long as you aren't feeding it with like another bit of fabric in there, I don't know. I feel like you can trust your pinning.
Yeah, okay.
And your
gathering
mix it up. Skills.
All right, I'll do it.
You could also make a non-gathered version of this dress if you wanted to have more of a A-line shape without the gathers. Like you did mention maternity. I think if you could wear this dress for a little while at least, maybe not all the way to the end, but at least for the most part, it would be a nice dress like that.
Well, and a simple alteration of, adding in a bigger piece of fabric and just gathering up a bit more or whatever might make it a bit more wearable, or raising up the bodice. There's things you could do very easily, I think, that would make it very wearable.
This reminds me that we should do an episode like on maternity sewing.
Yes.
Because I actually just recently altered a shirt, like a long sleeve knit shirt that I'd made that had the extra gathers to make shape for the bump.
Yep.
And then I was like, I really like this fabric, but I don't have a bump there now, so I want to fix it. And I just cut the side seams and then like pulled it flat and then re-sewed it. And I was like, that's a great hack. You could make something for yourself while you're pregnant, and then just as soon as you're not pregnant, you can just pull it out and sew it
That's awesome.
up, and then it was just a regular top.
Great idea. Why didn't I think of that? Too late now.
Yeah. Let's get back to this pattern.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Yeah.
The button closure at the back of the main bodice.
Yes, I didn't do that. So.
I didn't do that either because I don't know if I've got a small head or whatever, but I don't need it.
Yeah.
I can fit my head through the hole. And to be honest, the button at the back always gets caught in my hair and it pulls my hair.
Yes, I understand that. In fact, the girls have a couple of dresses with buttons at the back there, and I'm always pulling out hair from the button, or there's a tangled moment where it's in the button. I'm just like, buttons on the back of dresses don't work so well with
I don't
hair.
like ties either, but I'd probably maybe prefer a tie because at least it's not going to pull my hair out.
I agree. A tie over a button, but it'd be easy to change, wouldn't it?
I did really consider making the bodice that has the tie at the front.
Yeah.
So it's just got a little slit and then the tie, and then it has the binding that actually encloses the raw edge at the top. And I thought I'd like to make that, but based on the print that I chose, which is a big polka dot, I thought it'd just be better to be just sleek. But maybe if you have a regular size head, you need that that button opening.
Yeah. Obviously I made the different bodice from the expansion pack, but there was so easy to get over my head. I mean, I guess it's a much lower front. But yeah, I wonder, I think test that. Maybe you might not need the button. That's good advice.
Yeah. Or if you could always make the neckline a little bit lower or higher to suit your preferences.
Yes, true.
And, if you don't want to do a closure, you could just add maybe 0.5 centimetre around the whole neckline and then certainly get it over your head that way.
Exactly. That saves you a job then.
Yeah. If you don't want to deal with any closures, then And what about pockets? Did you put pockets in yours?
I did. Yeah. I just sort of went with the instructions, and I'm glad I put them in. It's the kind of dress that you want to be able to put your hands in your pocket.
Yeah, they're very much hand pockets, not really holding pockets.
No, but then I don't think I would be putting lots of things in a dress pocket usually anyway, because it kind of makes it, pull down too much on one side. But I definitely would stop and put my hands in my pocket, and I like being able to do that. Yeah,
me too. One of my previous hope dresses I made from this beautiful fabric that's hand screen printed, and it has the artwork is from Indigenous artists, and that fabric is super special, and it has white screen printing, and that is actually a little bit sort of stiff, and so I didn't want to put that in the pocket, so I put some other fabric in the pocket that's really soft. It's like a linen viscose.
Oh, lovely.
And so when I put my hands in the pocket, it just feels nice.
That's a good call.
Yeah, because the pockets are just to put your hands in.
Yeah, but it comes back to the fact that this dress is really good for those statement prints, those special fabrics that, allow the fabric to really be the forefront of the whole thing.
Yeah, and Carly said that they have a Facebook group for Style Arc customers to share their creations, to help each other. If you've got any problems, if you're stuck, that's a really good resource. And somebody in the Facebook group had made 12 hope dresses.
Wow, my goodness me. That's a real staple for them.
Yeah, and they said, this is the dress for me.
Yeah.
This is just,
that's great.
That's my dress. And that's great. If you find the silhouette or the dress pattern that you love and you can just make them over and over again in whatever fun fabric you find, and that would take a lot of the pressure off.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. You can just be in the process and not worrying about, the fit and all the other things, you're going to end up with a great dress at the end.
And making things over and over again is actually really economical. And you don't have to keep working out the fit every time. Like we have to work out the fit for all these new patterns that we're testing. But once you've found your TNT, tried and true, you can just continually make those.
And there is something really nice about being in the middle of making that kind of pattern, because you kind of can relax into it a bit more. Not that I'm not relaxed when I sew, but you know what the outcome is. So you're it's a sure bet, I guess.
Yeah, you can kind of like zone out, or not really zone out. It's more that you get into the flow where you're not really thinking about what you're doing, and it's just sort of happening from osmosis and muscle memory and your brain knowing what to do.
A bit kind of meditative, really, in a way. That's the cool bit of sewing, I reckon.
That is very
One
cool.
of the cool bits of sewing.
That, apparently getting into the flow state is like really good for you, because it means that you're activating your left and right brain at the exact same time, which is not very common. Like in your life, there's not too many things that you do that activate both.
Nice.
So getting into that state where you're on sort of autopilot and things are just going and flowing, it's not only is it feel good, but it's actually good for you.
Yeah, that's great. I can believe that for sure. Yeah.
The other fun part, and I can vouch that a lot of people say this is their most fun part, is at some point when you're making the thing, it starts to be 3D. And it starts to not be a flat piece of fabric. It starts to be a 3D object that's going to go on your body. And that moment when it's like there's some part in the process where you go, ooh, yeah, I can see it coming together.
That is the best bit, I think, for most people that sew. That is the moment where you go, it's not flat anymore. It's becoming a thing.
And shopping for fabric, of course.
Oh, well, obviously. All right.
The hem. Did you do a deep hem or like a regular hem?
I did a 5 centimetre hem and I hand stitched it.
Really?
Which is what it says to do in the instructions, actually, Kylie.
Who knew Walmart Business could help a thriving office motivate their employees? Pamela knew. She uses Walmart Business to get the assortment of items her team needs at the prices she loves.
As the office manager, it's my job to make sure my team stays on top of their game. I can get the basics like cleaning supplies and paper towels, but what they really care about, snacks.
And she can get everything they need when they need it.
Greg loves wheat crackers, Brenda craves sour candy, and Max, oh boy, he needs protein bars and milk and applesauce
It's
and
Walmart,
jerky.
built for your business. Who knew?
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along. Which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/zip. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. It finds them for you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/zip. That's ZipRecruiter.com/zip. ZipRecruiter.com/zip.
I didn't see that part. And even if I did, I would have ignored that because I'm not hand sticking a hem. Why?
I did it in front of the TV, and look, it's not my favourite thing to be doing, but I did do it. I was quite proud of myself.
Well, good for you, Gemma. That's not ever happening over here.
Fair enough.
I try to avoid hand sewing on the buttons if I need to sew on a button. I'm using my machine for that.
But coming back to our previous discussion, I think there is something about hand stitching that is also you really do get into a flow. And if I've got time on my hands, very rarely, but if I have, I really enjoy it.
I think that we are going to choose a real big circle skirt dress for a future episode.
There is
and then
no
Gemma's
way.
gonna hand stitch that.
No way. I would never do that. No way. I have done an almost circle skirt before though, but never again. Okay, Kylie, so the ratings.
This is going to be fun. So we've got the size inclusivity,
which is
very
pretty good.
Yeah.
Very good. Yeah, it's 4 to 30.
Yeah, these are Australian sizes. And you know what? They actually have been doing those sizes from the very beginning, from 2010, because Lynn and Lizzie had experience in working with fashion houses that were after, all different ranges of sizes. So they had all that experience. So they started out offering all the sizes, which that is awesome.
Yeah.
So highly rating for
and
that.
even now they offer so many different options as well when you're downloading the pattern, whether you want to be able to buy it in just a single size or you want to have it in multiple sizes. So not only is there a really good range of sizes, they often also offer different formats to be able to download that in. So
and they do
really
offer
great.
a lot of measurements in their sizing chart. So they don't just offer bust, waist and hip. They have shoulder breadth, which I don't see that in too many patterns, and that would be something you'd look at because you have broad shoulders.
I often have to do a shoulder adjustment,
Yeah, and they also have
back,
upper arm girth, so you can check that the sleeve will fit before you make it, because there's nothing worse than having a sleeve that's restrictive.
Yeah, no, that's really good. So
we're highly rating their size inclusivity. What are we going to rate?
We gave it 4.5.
4.5, yeah, great.
And then on to drafting.
Well, the drafting is exquisite, and
Yeah, it's amazing.
Decades of experience
Decades
there.
of experience, millions of patterns, all drafted really well. So
Top rating for that one, 5. Woohoo.
Instructions.
Yeah, the instructions. Well, we are going to rate based on the Hope dress because this
is what we're reviewing?
Yeah, this is the pattern we're reviewing, and just know that some of the older patterns may not have as extensive instructions, and if you are a beginner, to just choose something from the beginner section. But for the Hope dress, I found them very easy to follow, and I like that it's simple and there's not too much extra information. It's quite streamlined. It's giving all the information you need.
I actually really like the fact that their patterns fit onto a page or two.
Yeah.
And the other thing to remember as well with the Hope dress is not only are the instructions well done, there's also resources on the website for tutorials. So, you know, there's everything there that you need. So for that reason, I think they need it needs to be a pretty high rating.
Yeah, definitely. And I personally enjoy having really streamlined and uncluttered instructions because I'm a bit more experienced. But I thought that it was very, very straightforward for even a beginner.
Yeah, agreed. So we give that 4?
Yeah, 4.
Difficulty,
I think it's quite easy, right?
I mean, there's no zips, there's no buttons, and I think that's a massive thing. Even the sleeve goes in fairly easily.
Well, the raglan sleeve is easy to put in because there's no setting in sleeves. It comes together very quickly and quite easily. There's not too many places to trip up.
2.5?
Yeah.
Price?
It's in the middle. Yeah. And you do have the option of buying a single size. If you know that you fit that size in Stylark, you can buy that pattern and it is less expensive than if you wanted the multi-size pattern.
Yeah, that's really good. That's a good option to have. There aren't many companies that would offer that. So
yeah,
excellent.
I like that as well.
So
$2 signs.
$2 signs. Okay, Carly, overall, what do we give it?
Overall, we really like the Hope dress.
We really like the Hope dress. And we give it 4.5.
4.5.
Sewing Club stamps.
Woohoo.
It's great.
Yep. And Gemma, you made it yours.
I did.
No, I love that. I like that. You know, sometimes we sew things and we like it and we get through and then we try it on and we're like, oh, I don't know if I like this on me. And then you can just make a couple of little adjustments to make it so that you will wear it. And that's what sewing's all about.
It is. You're right. And it's great. That's the fact that we have the ability to be able to do that is the joy of sewing, right?
Yeah, and don't be worried about going off the instructions if you want to add something that's going to make it fit better.
Yeah, that's
like ties.
How we learn, right, as well.
Exactly. Well, Sally's here to give us the next pattern and the discount code.
Hey, dudes. Woo! How you doing?
Yeah, good. How are you?
In exciting news, the next pattern will be the Ara Overcoat by Daisy Chain Patterns. And they've so kindly given you guys 20% off this pattern. So just head over to daisychainpatterns.com and put in the usual podcast discount, which is Sewing Club Podcast.
Woohoo.
All in caps. And you get that sweet, sweet discount.
Lovely.
And fun times.
Yeah, this is a really cool one.
It is cool.
Lots and lots of options of fabrics and it's got binding. It's going to be a lot of fun.
And again, great for the Brisbane winter. So looking forward to making that one.
Thanks, Sally.
You're welcome.
So thanks so much for listening, everyone. We would love it if you could join our Facebook group, the Sewing Club Podcast Community, where we can share our makes and tips and tricks along the way.
And we have an Instagram as well, which is sewingclub.podcast. We have feedback forms attached to that. You can see our garments in the wild. We post videos there and we love hearing all the feedback, so keep it coming.
We'd love it if you could subscribe, rate, review the podcast. All of that helps to get this podcast to as many people as possible.
Till next time.
Till next time.
Who knew Walmart Business could help a thriving office motivate their employees? Pamela knew. She uses Walmart Business to get the assortment of items her team needs at the prices she loves.
As the office manager, it's my job to make sure my team stays on top of their game. I can get the basics like cleaning supplies and paper towels, but what they really care about, snacks.
And she can get everything they need when they need it.
Greg loves wheat crackers, Brenda craves sour candy, and Max, oh boy, he needs protein bars and milk and applesauce
It's Walmart,
and turkey.
built for your business. Who knew?
Evening. Buyer's remorse. Buy a new car? I'll be moving in. Let's get started.
Sorry, I think there's been a mistake. I bought it from Carvana.
You what?
Yeah, great price. I even have 7 days to love it or return it.
So there's no...
No buyer's remorse. More like buyer's rejoice.
I guess I'll let myself out. Congratulations. I mean it.
Buyers rejoice. Buy your car today on Carvana.
Limitations and exclusions may apply. See our 7-day return policy at Carvana.com.